Well, what is up, bros? Me, Josh here. In today's video, we are going over the best ships for this upcoming rank season, Season 9. And if you guys haven't seen, this season is going to be both Tier 8 and Tier 10. The first Tier 10 rank season for the actual tiers, not the Winners League or whatever you want to call it, the Champion League. But the actual Tier 10s will be used this season. Now, part of the season, rank 23 to 11 will be Tier 8s, and then 10 and under will be Tier 10s. I'll briefly touch on Tier 8s since basically last season was Tier 8s and not much has really changed. The ships that are finalized in game currently, I believe, are just the Richelieu and the Graf Zeppelin. Both are going to be pretty good. Zeppelin will probably be the best CV. Probably a fighter Shokaku will be able to shut it down, but you'll get into rank 10 pretty quickly. Richelieu, I think, will be okay. I think it's still going to be the normal ships stuff that you're going to see that was really successful last season. Shimakaze was pretty successful last season. Akizuki was actually the beast last season. Kagero, of course, that low stealth torpedo was always good. And then pretty basic from there. Otago will be good for cruisers. Benson will be good for destroyers. Kids were very good as well. I mean, basic destroyers, North Carolina, Alabama will both be really, really good for the battleship core. Chappies and New Orleans for the radars, Kutuzov for the damage, and then pretty just normal stuff. If you want to be annoying, you can play the Charles and the Kiev and try to farm some stars from that. And then the Loyang, of course, will be the beast, of course. If you are playing this season consistently, you will get to rank 10 relatively easily and get through. I'll put a link down below to my last season's overview. Not much has really changed. Some things that could be pretty interesting is if they drop the changed Baltimore and the Cleveland. During the season, I could see those being pretty effective with the big 203s and the faster firing Cleveland. This could be very effective for this. And then the Asashio, even though the Asashio is super troll, I don't think it'd be super solid since it only hits battleships with torps. And you want, I mean, it'd be very effective against those battleships, but I don't think it'd be super effective in rank season. But Tier 8s, if you're going through it, get to rank 10, and then you'll be back up to tier 10s, which is what I kind of want to dive into mainly for this. With the upcoming nerf to the, I don't have any of the CVs, so we're just going to briefly talk about those. CVs, it's all going to be about the Hakuyu. The Midway will be good, but if you are tier 10 and under, you're going to know what you're doing. You're going to be running fighter Hakuyu. And with the continuous nerfs to the Midway, there's no way you'll be able to control it. 8 squads, 4 squads of fighters, 2 torp bombers, 2 dive bombers on the hack. You will just be able to control the air. Midway won't be able to do anything. The Hakuyu could do that before the Midway even really got any of its nerfs. So the hack will be the go-to. I mean, of course, Midway versus Midway will be a good fight, but if you are running a hack, what you'll see in CVs is you'll see a fighter loadout versus fighter loadout, and it's more about spotting than anything. I really don't think you'll see too many CVs this season at all, if any at all, because one, it's the smallest player base, and two, it's tier 10s, and well, it is such a minute percent of players that have tier 10s, tier 10 CVs. So I doubt you'll really see any. Maybe early in the season you'll see some, but it'll be very, very few and far between. And I just think you'll be able to run. You won't have to really run anything AA. I really don't think you will. In the past seasons, it's been tier 7s and 8s, which have all had purchasable tier CVs. And last season, I barely saw any, and it was when the Enterprise was super, super hot. So I'm expecting to see little to no CVs this season, kind of per usual for ranked. But for my main class, this is what I'm going to be running, and I will be running the DDs this season. But again, Hakuyu will murder at tier 10 for CVs. I'll be running the Yu Yang. Now, the thing is, will I be running smoke or radar? Smoke, you can depend on yourself. I'll probably run a radio location vigilance build for this, and then be able to just hunt the other destroyers. Downside about this is you can't torp the enemy destroyers, but upside is you have one of the lowest stealth, detections, and you can absolutely destroy everything, and your torps are extremely, extremely good, even with cruisers that have sonar up. So Yu Yang will be my go-to ship and absolutely dunking on everything else. One thing that will be kind of a nice change to potentially use, and I will start with smoke on this ship, but I might switch to radar, because what this will do, it'll be a pseudo Lo Yang like it was last season. You could switch it up. You are very dependent on your team, though, which in ranked isn't always good. Smoke gives you that out if you need it. So potentially I won't run radar, but I'm going to have to kind of see. This is going to be a very interesting choice. I think this will be very fun. This is my favorite ship to play right now, and could be very, very effective. I think Yu Yang will be one of the strongest, though. Gearing will be really, really good as well. Just overall good. Good guns, good torps, good detection. you can't really go wrong. If there are CVs in the air, I probably will bring this. If there are CVs and Qs, kind of a semi-AA build to be able to protect yourself and just be really good. But again, it's the gearing, it's great. Long-range torps, it can hit everything. It can hit destroyers, which the Yu Yang can't, and could be very, very effective, as well as leaving really long smokes, USN smokes, instead of the Pan-Asian kind of short and sweet smokes. But you could kind of almost do an offensive smoke with these ships, still with even the smoke changes. Kappa will be the Kappa. Every season, the Russian destroyers tend to be just the Russian destroyers. They kind of team up with the French cruisers and kind of play that outside flank annoying ship. You can farm yourself out some stars. What you end up doing is you end up just being super annoying, and hopefully you can allocate 2 maybe enemy ships, and what you do is you basically go 1v2 with those guys and make them focus, and hopefully your team can go out there. Same with the French cruisers. What they do is they tend to go on the outside, and if they aren't dealt with over time, or if you can't take advantage of them being annoying and focusing the enemy team down, you can actually be very effective. So what you're hoping for, in the long run, it's hard to have a major impact with these ships. You end up farming out some damage and could farm out a star here or there. But I mean, if it's a 1 destroyer game and you don't have, and you're a cab versus, let's say, a Yu Yang or gearing, your team's gonna be at a massive disadvantage with how these have to play. So a great ship to be annoying in if you want to, and be kind of a trollo lull. But overall, this will be more fun than effective. If that's basically what I'll say, it'll be more fun than effective when it comes to kind of the higher rank. And when I say higher rank, I'm meaning like 5-to-1 bracket, not the higher rank as actual numbers. The higher ranks for you're gonna lose some effectiveness. Although the cab is still crazy good, but everyone's gonna be pretty accurate there. Grozavoy is a ship that I think for me, the Grozavoy gets a lot of hate because it's amazing against airplanes. It's against CVs. It's really, really, really good. Outside of that, it's just okay. It's just an okay ship, and I just think it gets picked on. And I think the Grozavoy will be still effective. You can still do really good damage. If this is your only tier 10 DD, you can still be very effective in it. And torps still hit really hard, and your guns are extremely good. But overall, it's just one of the weaker ships. It loses some I don't know, just overall, it's just not as good. It really isn't. If there are planes in the sky, this thing is going to be god tier. If you're seeing CVs every game, if you get one of those days where there's 2 CV players just battling out all day, and you roll this, you're going to be very, very successful and very loved by your team, because you're basically an AA platform that could potentially murder a ton of planes and keep them safe. So Grozavoy overall needs planes to be, I think, extremely effective. Still decent, but I would rather just take something else just to be better. Now, the Z52 will be extremely good as well. This is basically going to be the tier 10 Lo Yang from last season. You can post up behind islands, sonar everything, be extremely annoying, and have really fast reloading torps. Downside is you have one of the higher detections at this tier, and you could basically get murdered on your way in because things will detect you. But still, it's just going to be a little bit more of a boring gameplay, because most of the time you'll be playing that Lo Yang strategy of posting up behind an island, getting your team a cap, and then having them push in and basically just popping your sonar with sonar mod and being very, very effective that way. Upside is you could get your team that early kill on a destroyer because they don't have a Z52. I think this is going to be one kind of a resident sleeper gameplay, but it could be very, very effective if you enjoy that and give your team that massive advantage of potentially taking out a DD early. I think one of the best top 3 probably with the Yu Yang, Gearing, Z. I think those are going to be extremely, extremely good. This is all playstyle, so if you like that playstyle, I love the German DDs. I just want to go with the Yu Yang. I think it's more fun to play. The Z52 could be extremely good with that sonar and smoke. Yu Yang, you have to give up smoke for radar. One of the dark horses, and I'm not sure what's going to end up happening with this ship and how it will perform, is the Shimakaze. Now, this is going to get a buff to 5.6 kilometer detection, so it's going to be the lowest at tier 10, which is something that's needed for a long time, and thankfully Wargaming is now doing it. So what that is going to do, it's going to make it that stealthy IJN torp boat that we have seen in the past be very successful. So even at tier 6, the Hatsuharu, which isn't known for being extremely good, was extremely good because you could outspot everything. So what that is going to do is, and this has good guns to defend yourself against, instead of like the Hatsuharu, which didn't really have anything to really defend itself with. So Shimakaze, it's going to be, because I don't know when this buff is going to hit, if it'll hit at the start of the season, if it'll hit in the middle of the season. This ship could be very effective with doing a lot of damage and outspotting everything. So this could be that stealthy IJ and torque boat. It's not my playstyle. I don't really like this playstyle. I'd rather have guns with one of the kind of the in between the kind of gunboats with the Yu Yang and Gearing and Z52. Torque boats aren't really my playing style, but this I think could be extremely effective. I'm not sure how effective though, because I haven't seen it with the buff. But I mean, a stealthier Shimakaze is going to be really scary. So one torp from those, from a 12k torp probably, which is what you run, maybe 16, 20k with torp acceleration, could be extremely good and extremely effective. We'll have to wait and see how this really goes. But if you enjoy the Shimakaze now, you're going to love it with the buffs, and this could be your ship to get you rank 1 with. For cruisers, I think this is going to be pretty basic. It's going to be kind of like clan battles. Ships that are just going to jump out and be extremely good. Hindenburg, I think, will probably be the best. It's awesome. It's extremely tanky. Has good AA if you want it. Has great sonar. Has great torp angles. Has great guns. This is going to be extremely, extremely good. I think probably the best overall cruiser. And you'll see a lot of these launching HE from 18 kilometers, pinpointing you on your face while you're missing them from 18. So Hindenburg, I think, will just be great. Overall, an amazing ship. I think the best tier 10 cruiser in the game, just for its overall what it can do and be extremely effective. I think Hindenburg will be a go-to number 1 if you have it. If you don't have the ship, get it. If you have it, use it. You'll be effective in it. Zhao, I think the Zhao with the cool ass space camo. The Zhao will be really, really good. This is going to be a ship that's going to be really good at 1v1s because its detection is so low, and you could be an extremely effective flank ship, as well as just getting away from danger and basically dunking on people when they don't know you're there. In clan battles, we use this as a second destroyer, and it's extremely effective at that because you will outspot everything. So, really, really good ship. I mean, I think it's really only beat by the Hindenburg for this kind of playstyle, the open water playstyle, and I think it'll be extremely effective if you have it. Very punishing broadsides, very punishing even if you're bow tanking, because the HE is just absolutely nasty. So that'll be really, really good. A little weak on AA, but again, as I say, that has 91 AA, but you can still get dropped down pretty easily. I don't think you'll see too many CVs, so the Zhao will be pretty damn strong. Des Moines will be the go-to radar ship with your minute-long radar. If you have the radar module, I don't know if I have it on this. I don't have it on this, but you could get the radar module, and it puts you at almost a minute of radar. This thing is going to be the bane of all destroyer existences. Although it is going to be a semi-boring, that tends to be a very boring build. What you do on several maps is you tend to get in a certain spot, sit there, protected cap, and not do too much. But what you do is you make it so the DD can't go there, and if it does go there, you blast his face off. So very, very effective for what it does. It's not that glamorous of a play style, but it's extremely good and can win your team games. So and then of course when things go, nothing really beats you from that basically 12 kilometers to 6. Nothing beats you in that range, so you can 1v1 everything and just absolutely murder face. And if you get a good spot, especially if you kill that enemy DD and get your team that advantage, you can then of course just rain hell on everything basically, and using smokes and whatnot be very, very good. This will be the go-to radar ship in my opinion. Moskvas, I don't know if Moskvas will be that effective this season. Downside about the Moskvas is 13.8 kilometer detection. That's with concealment module and concealment captain. You'll get outspotted by almost every battleship. So if you're having, it's 77, if you have 3 battleships that are spotting the Moskva, that's going to be no more Moskva. So it's going to be very hard for, I think, this thing to be effective. It's just going to get picked on so easily. It's extremely good, don't get me wrong. Its radar is awesome, but getting into a spot where it can radar, you might lose 2/3 of your health to get there. And then how effective were you really, when you could have just taken it to Des Moines, kind of done the same thing, and not gotten murdered. Moskva, extremely good ship, extremely deadly. You can Citadel battleships and just be god tier damage, but it's getting into situations in 7v7. If there's 3 battleships, they're just gonna blast you out of the water. There's nothing you can really do. So Moskva, good. I like the ship. It's a major threat to anything has a super long radar. I don't think it'll be that effective though, because you're gonna need to give up a lot of life and a lot of, you know, your tanking ability to get into a situation where you can be effective. It doesn't have the arc of shooting over islands that the Des Moines does. It doesn't have the long duration radar that the Des Moines does. Yeah, I could see this you're gonna have to play very passive with this ship, and I just don't think you really need that with cruisers that are gonna be here. You're gonna want that something that can get into an aggressive spot, sneak in there like a Des Moines, and do work. I think people should use it and be successful in it, but I just think it's gonna be out of kind of the meta, and its weak points are gonna be highlighted with a multi-battleship queue that I'm assuming will happen this season. Minotaur again. I could see potentially radar minnows being semi-useful. Battleships are getting better at shooting the smoke. I love this ship. This is one of, I think, the most fun ships to play at tier 10, but I just don't see it being extremely successful in ranked battles. Meta again, 7v7, multiple battleships in queue. You're gonna get just roasted. You're gonna get blasted off the planet. Although there's nothing scarier that you want to see close range as you're in a destroyer, but I think the Minotaur will potentially be semi-weak. I don't think you'll see too many of them because if they are radared, if they are anything, if it goes against a Henry, it gets overpenned in the front, you're just going to get selected out. But if you play that slow, passive playstyle, I could see it being a radar ship, just like the DM, and then you know, just doing minnow things for the rest of the game. So if played right, I could see it maybe being effective. I just wouldn't see why bringing this over Des Moines would be better if you have both ships. Henry, this is going to be the Kappa of the cruisers, basically. You could play that flank, be annoying, and then really put some pressure on your team. Go dark. You're super, super fast, and could run up the side and just be a massive, massive pain in the ass of any ship. Because one, it seems like it's almost impossible to sit these damn things. Two, they're so fast. And three, those big, big guns are going to just absolutely rip up your team if this thing is not dealt with. So this is going to be that meme flanking ship like the Kappa, and could be a lot of fun if you enjoy that. Potentially farm some stars, but again, with that style, you're potentially going to lose some impact on the game. You're really hoping they bite on the trap of pulling ships away towards you. That's when you're going to be most effective, is when you give your team that 6v5. Because you're one ship pulled two away. That's when this thing will be most effective. Other than that, though, there's no reason to bring this over a Zhao or Hindenburg if you have those ships. Other than this ship just being fun to play and just being that annoying Henry on the flank dunking you for 4 or 5k salvo. So potentially could be effective if played kind of like that. That's it for cruisers. And let's dive over to battleships. Now, battleships, I'm really interested this season to see what happens. Now, I'm going to rank these how I currently think they're strongest and how I just think they'll go. First of all, I just think the Montana is still the best tier 10. It's just so good. 12 shells going out, good reload, good detection, good kind of everything. This thing could just absolutely punish anything. It's a good tank. It can bounce a lot of shells and could be very, very effective. I think the Montana will be the go-to battleship still, but I'm kind of interested to see how the season goes. I don't have the Republic right now. I'm still at the Richelieu, if you saw that earlier, but the Republic is extremely, extremely good. And I'm very interested to see how this thing works. We saw it more and more in clan battles, and I'm really interested to see how effective this is for ranked season. It's not the best tank, but it can pump out a ton of damage compared to everything else. I think it has maybe one of the highest DPMs of battleships. Good secondaries as well, so if you do make that push with your team, I mean, big shells going out of this thing is an absolute beast. So this might be the sleeper for me, just because I've played it before. We got to test it early, the work in progress phase. Not too many people have this ship yet, so you won't see a massive amount of them, but we were seeing more and more in clan battles, and it was actually working very, very well. The Republic I could see being extremely good, but I don't know. The Republic kind of is that hot right now ship. The Montana has just been that go-to guaranteed ship for the longest time. I think will be very, very effective. If you have it, it seems to bounce all kinds of stuff, but it does get messed up by Cruiser HE, which I think there'll be a decent amount of. So we will see once it kind of hits. But I still think the Montana probably be the best. The Republic will be extremely good. Conqueror will be pure. Why is this ship still in the game? This thing will be the bane of everybody's existence. The Conqueror will do Conqueror things. It'll murder everything, just HE everything. It'll be super annoying, although I don't know what kind of impact the HE will have. I think the Conqueror has like the highest average damage. I don't know if it still has the highest of every ship, but highest average damage, but it's all repairable damage basically. So This thing will be super, super, super annoying because it's going to do a ton of damage to you and you're never going to see it. Although it's not very tanky, you can absolutely destroy this thing if everything focuses it, but it will just Frankenstein itself out, zombie life, and then be back up to 40k before you know it. So if everybody does focus this ship, which we always did when we played clan battles, it'll just go 100 to 0 in no time, as long as you can keep it detected. Again, doesn't take torps very well too, so if you have a DD that kind of hits it with torps, you can chunk it right down really quick. Conqueror will just be pure annoyance and just be annoying to deal with. I can't imagine going against 3 of these. That'd be awful. It'll just be the bane of kind of all battleships' existence, because once it shoots, it has I mean, it's almost 3 kilometers stealthier, 2 kilometers stealthier than the Moskva. So sneak up on a Moskva and then blast it off the planet. HE all day. The AP is still really good as well, and even good AA even if you see planes. The Yamato has completely been power creeped. It was once the king of tier 10 battleships, and still very good, but it has this thing called the cheek, and you can get obliterated, but still, it's the only thing that's going to lull pen like the Yamato does. Destroying everything bow in, breaking guns, breaking souls with citadels that you didn't think would have citadels, and it's just doing Yamato things. This thing will probably get burnt down pretty easily, especially if it goes against like a Conqueror and stuff like that, or against a cruiser that really doesn't like Yamatos. But still, nothing's going to lull pen like the Yamato. I don't think anything in this game will ever lull pen like the Yamato. So if you want those, the ship I think will still be effective. I just think it's just been power creep so far down the list, I think, of the best battleships. Biggest shells, though, very intimidating, good secondaries. Go in there and do Yamato things if you want. If you enjoy playing this ship, I think you'll still be successful. I just think you're going to kind of lose stuff compared to the other top 3 that I kind of talked about going in. Could still be very, very effective, though. Again, all the destroyers, all the cruisers, all the battleships, you can still be effective in. I just think you can be more effective in other ships. And certainly last but not least is the Kurfürst. I have my highest damage game in this ship by far, I think by like 50k. It's the only ship I've ever gotten 300,000 damage plus in, and I think it's just the worst tier 10 battleship, although I love to play it. Spotted from the moon. Secondaries are great, though. Spotted from the moon, questionably accurate, depending on who you ask, and still, you'll just get burnt down. It's so big. It's just the GK. If you have this ship, either you love it or you just feel that you get picked on. Maybe rolling a full kind of zombie build in this thing with taking fire prevention, which I hate that skill, but potentially, and just being very, very effective in the ship could work. You know, you can do work in this ship, you can be effective, but I just think against everything else, against a pissed off Conqueror, you're screwed. Conqueror will never be detected, and you'll just be burnt down to a crisp. Big ship, not stealthy, although it's fun to play. Side note, I just think it'll be potentially the worst battleship for ranked season. But anyways, this is the first tier 10 ranked season, and I'm really excited to kind of see how it goes. I'm not the biggest fan of ranked season, but I'm interested in what you guys think about it. I did a video I'll link down below on my thoughts of this upcoming ranked season. From the sounds of it, they aren't going to do rentals, so if you don't have a tier 10 ship, start working on it. You got a couple more weeks before it goes live, and I hope this guide helps, and I hope you guys are interested. But again, the main kind of questionable ships are going to be, and again, this is mainly for tier 10s. Of course, there are tier 8s in the season, which we hit at the start of the video, but if you're playing the season, you'll get through those pretty quickly. Ships I'm really interested in seeing how they perform. One, the Republic. I'm really interested to see how that thing performs against other battleships in a 7v7 situation. It could be very effective. Shimakaze with its buffs, if they hit this season, will be really interesting. If they don't hit this season, I don't think the Shima will be that good. If they do hit this season, which I mean, it gives probably like 2 months or something like that for it to hit. So I could see it potentially hitting in the middle of the season or early. I could see it being pretty damn effective. So that's the big in between there. Maybe the Minotaur. I could see if someone's going radar, it could be really annoying. Low detection. It could be kind of effective, but mainly Republic, Shimakaze, and those are 2 kind of dependent ships. And the tier 8s, if the Cleveland, Baltimore get moved down, and the Richelieu, so which has been added since, and of course the Graf Zeppelin. But anyways, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this video. This has been super requested over the past few days since ranked has been announced, so I hope this really helps you out. Yes, it's a longer video. We go over a lot of stuff, and really hope this, guys, helps you go get rank 1. And if you haven't gone and get rank 1, there's lots of cool rewards. Go out there, have fun. Don't let it get too salty. You know, play a couple games here and there, and honestly, if you're playing ranked for the first time or playing ranked again, use the rule: if you lose 3 stars in a session, take a break. Don't play on tilt. It never works, and you'll play worse and worse and worse. So take a break, go play something else, go play some Stardew Valley or something. I don't know, something that's just nice and peaceful. But anyways, guys, that's it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember to like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.